Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Malaika K. Falla. I'm passionate about inspiring change through interconnectedness and taking compassionate actions towards our fellow human beings. I do want to first of all say thank you to all of you who participated in my last few videos. I am truly, truly grateful to be back once more to continue the conversation on self-empowerment, personal empowerment. And the conversation today is the topic is interconnectedness. Some of that interconnectedness is self-empowerment or personal empowerment. Yesterday, the video was about understanding how to achieve personal empowerment or self-empowerment. So my hope today is to through this segment of this video, I'd like to add to the conversation yesterday how one can be on their way through understanding personal empowerment. Let's get this clear out of the way. Personal empowerment is not we're not going to look at personal empowerment as though we have a theory. And so the theory here is that we're going to decide that this is how it's going to happen. No, I do want you to take from this conversation what works for you or what doesn't work for you is for you to decide, because personal empowerment is truly personal to a person. And because it's truly personal to a person, if I just may tee it down to a point and says that this is not a one size fit all recommendation, suggestions, or conversation. So I can listen to the conversation on personal empowerment and choose to pick up what works for me and choose to leave what doesn't work for me. So remember that it is not a one size that fit all for this conversation, which is the topic about self-empowerment, personal empowerment, because we must first understand we are individuals that have different expectations, different needs, different wants, and different likes in this world. Okay? So just to clarify that point, the emphasis of personal empowerment, self empowerment also is truly to understand who am I. It becomes that first step. It is the very first step in any journey towards personal empowerment, is to understand who you are. Because if you truly understand who you are definitely in a place of knowing where you want to go. And that's the beginning of understanding personal empowerment, is who am I? Because you are the center, you are in this situation that is tied with interconnectedness here. You are the center of 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 a coexistent world. You are center of that world. You're in the middle of it, and because you're in the middle of it, it makes you interconnected with everything and everyone on a multitude of dimensions. So first, affirm the person you are. In affirming the person you are, you're able to manage yourself. You're able to manage your relationships with others. You have a consistent perhaps ways of of interacting with yourself, starting with yourself, and the capacity to describe what is inside of you that you feel through ways that you are resourceful to society or to humanity. So let's get started. The first thing is that as a personal empowered person seeking to understand personal empowerment, something that is truly important is acknowledging a sense of gratefulness. So you're truly grateful for this world that you live in. You're grateful for your life. You're grateful for the lives of others that you share with, your friends, loved ones, and people that you might say you probably don't like. I mean, we're all human beings. It's not something that we're going to put in a package and say that it's not, that doesn't exist. Yes, it does exist. We tend to sometimes say we don't like people, which is another conversation to go from. So moving along the path here of understanding personal empowerment, or seeking to understand personal empowerment or self-empowerment, I like to put an emphasis, put a several emphasis on several several subjects to begin with, and I have given through several of my other videos examples of ways that one can find meaning to themselves to arrive at a place of where truly they have a purpose to want to be. Of course, in saying all of this, that I want to add to this is that after you have given some sort of appreciation to yourself and to the people around you that are helping you or make you or have been there for you, gratefulness, interconnected. It's very important to take on an attitude, a winning attitude, because with a winning attitude, you are on a path to determine if the world is willing to interact with you or the world is going to resent you. So remember that. Go ahead with a winning attitude, one that is kind, one that is caring, one that's there's love, and one there's compassion, and one that has some sort of respect. Again, you can add to the list of that winning attitude that you can take on the world. Well, let's look at a way of understanding self-empowerment for the person you are. Okay, so it will be fair in this respect. I do believe that it will be a very good thing to talk a little more about how is it that I can manage myself to come to the point of that I can feel a sense of the empowerment. So how is it that you can manage yourself? I mean, managing yourself is huge with our our daily tasks that we have. I mean, think about all of the inclusions that you have to put in within yourself, things that you have to get done on a daily basis. And some of us think that there isn't enough time. So how is it that you can manage yourself? Because managing yourself is also as important and vital to be able to manage yourself in the world. And managing yourself in the world comes down to also understanding that awareness, that mindfulness, that way of how you perhaps socially is able to interact with others and so forth. So I do believe that I could give several examples on the managing yourself, but a few things that comes to mind is managing yourself in specific situations where you are becoming more of a contributor to that situation, managing yourself where you are being adaptable to that situation, managing yourself where you create a an environment that people feel safe to be with you. There could be a whole lot to talk about. Okay, so you have addressed a few points here about managing yourself. So you're seeking to understand who you are. So you say, okay, here I am. I can manage myself in this way. Um, I guess moving along that point of managing yourself is let's think about when you're out there in the world. Okay, it starts with you. What are you aware of about yourself? Well, you are aware of your emotional disposition. You are aware and recognize about things that others will not. You know who you are, your strength, your weaknesses. You also aware of your feelings, and that's where I'm trying to drill this down into. You're aware of your feelings. You're aware of things that people will have no clue about. So you take that awareness out with you, and you mirror it with what you see out there in the world. Next, let's say mindfulness. It's very key to um, to self-empowerment, and there could be a whole lot. This isn't one size that fit all. These are things that are out there, so you're going to select what works best for you or what don't work for you. So mindfulness. What is it that you're aware of being mindful about yourself? You're mindful about when you're home, what you do at home, you're not going to do it out. You're mindful of the way you talk to people. You're mindful about your environment. You're mindful of being in a place that you're there and not just a frame of yourself. You're there fully in the moment. So then you get out in the world and you find yourself with people. You create a sense of mindfulness where you are fully there. You're listening to what people have to say. You're extending a sense of awareness, and if it means to empathize with people, if it means to share some sort of joy, feelings, you are there, and you simply is a part of what's happening, and you definitely know when not to do a certain things. So that comes into play with that sense of mindfulness, and as long as you can perhaps understand the nuance about being where you are in terms of your environment, and in terms about what is it that you're seeking to get out of your environment, um, that again in itself is that you feel a sense of control of yourself, because feeling a sense of control of yourself um, isn't just a excuse me for that, isn't just a way of saying that you're controlling everything, because if you control yourself first, then you're able to externally control yourself within an environment that might challenge your mental state of being. Okay, so you are a person who is wanting to understand how then can I move from a place of move from a place to get to a point where I feel fully self-empowered. So there are primarily other traits for personal empowerment, and it's not putting a limitation to anything once more to say that this is where you have to be. So a personal empowered person is a person who seeks to want to be who wants to develop themselves, and we're getting to that point of personal development also. And to develop yourself is not just sitting in one place and thinking that development is going to unfold. You have to reach out to the point of wanting to develop yourself. So what do? You're taking ownership of the person you feel you are. And that person that you feel you are, as an individual, you are wanting to build on that person to empower that person. So first of all, let's say first of all, here, you are the engine or the fundamental building blocks to your human self and your own existence in order to help you understand personal empowerment, and in order to bring you to a point where your achievement, after you have gone through a point and a place, traveled through that journey of achieving, becoming personally empowered, that achievement will become unique to yourself because it's not unique to others. Remember, we talked about this is in one size fit all. Wearing something that it fits a small size, so it fits in large and extra large. No, this is something that's narrowed itself down to an individual person. We're personal on a level with ourselves, and we can be personal on a level with others. But before we can do that, we truly have to personally understand the person we are. And understanding the person we are is not as saying, oh, I know this is who I am and I know what I want and I know, yeah, but there are things that come along with understanding personal empowerment. And those things that come along, you can pick what works for you and you can leave what doesn't work for you. So here you are, understanding your personal empowerment. What are you perceiving your daily activities to be? Are you effectively applying yourself? Have you fully accepted yourself? Because being personal empowers self-empower. As I have always longed through my other videos, I have clearly pointed out that you purposefully must find a purpose within yourself. And finding that purpose within yourself entails that you have to put yourself in a place where you are able to define who you are, because no one else can define who you are. So when you can do that, when you can define and appreciate the person you are, you establish a deep sense of need for yourself through an interpersonal relationship with yourself, then before you can establish that interpersonal relationship with others. So, we asked the question here. So I'm going to ask the question here is, how are you relating to yourself in order to relate to the world? Okay, so how are you relating to yourself? Your uniqueness, your wholeness is meaningful not to anyone, but to you. So because of your uniqueness and your wholeness that is meaningful to you and not to anyone, you're asking yourself, okay, how is it that knowing who I am, how is it that I can extend what is unique about me and put it in the face of a purpose to empower myself? And that empowerment allows me to be self-actualized, and that self-actualizing myself allows me to find a place in society, find a place in my community, because it's your internal and external world. How is it that I can extend that kindness that I truly have for myself, the respect that I truly have for myself, and that sense of compassion that I truly have for who I am? So you're grounding yourself. You're grounding yourself with what? You're grounding yourself with self-love. You're grounding yourself being fearless. You're seeking to understand yourself as where you're seeking to understand others. You live in your means. You're a person who you're very open-minded. You don't shut down a situation or an idea because it seems disturbing to you or it seems uncomfortable to you. Let's put it that way. You find a means to be fine balance. You want to be a balanced person. You want to look at things from both spectrum, or if it's 10-20, you want to give yourself an inclusion, not an exclusion to a situation. You will take some risks. You're going to take some risks in order to get to some of these places for yourself to be empowered. You're living to win, but yet you know that you can lose. You understand that failure is a necessity to allow you, is a corrector to things that you and I probably may have not done correctly. So failure, T-line in that place. You're living with a means of seeing yourself as you would like to see others. You constantly ask yourself, what? Why? When? How? You're asking yourself all these questions because these questions comes with ways of opening your mind. You're committed. You're beginning to understand ways of being a problem solver. You're not self-centered. You're building relationships. You're focusing on what is purposeful, what is meaningful, how is it I can't waste my time. You align yourself with an intention that gives you the energy to propel yourself and to feel a sense of empowerment. You're taking it a step at a time. Very important. You allow yourself to be accountable, knowing that I am not right all the time. Is it something that I did wrong that I truly can be the first to say I'm sorry about? You're seeking to understand, not to judge others. You really don't know who they are. You don't know the entirety of a situation, so you can't go into that situation and pass a premature judgment based on what someone's think or say. You want to give people a chance to be people. You want to give people the benefit of the doubt, just how you expect to be given the benefit of the doubt. And these are ways that you are seeking to understand who you are and understand others by empowering yourself with these different names that we talked about, where you're committed, you're a problem solver. And in doing so, it naturally naturally overflow to your fellow human beings. You're responsible. You're so grateful. Was the first thing that I tried to talk about, that gratefulness. Your acceptance of knowing that you are not always going to be in control of a situation, and you're not the only one who exists in this world. That's where interconnectedness comes into play, is recognizing your coexistences with others and allowing the other people that you call the ones that you are seeking to interconnect with to live in the place of peace and harmony. You are embracing change. And when you embrace change, you find yourself with the ability to prevent a certain kinds of conflict, because you allow yourself to communicate well with yourself, to trust yourself, to respect yourself again, and to be compassionate with yourself, and to empathize with yourself. What is next to say? Put yourself in a vulnerable position where you are less defensive of the world or things that people are saying to you. Why? Because you truly will see and hear things that are truly organic and not refined. Our life, or we live in a world where we seek to refine things. We live in a world where we want instant gratification for things. I call it a microwave world. I call it a place where you want a 5-second result. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not things that are going to be a 5-second, 5 days, 5 minutes, 5 weeks to seek personal empowerment or understand personal empowerment. This is a lifestyle. Make it a lifestyle, because it changes every day. It's organic, it's moving, it's fluid, it's not stigma, it's not a statue. It moves. So it changes on a daily basis. You must be willing to live it, live within it. I want to ground this with a point here of seeking to understand personal empowerment through the lens of interconnectedness, not just narrowing it to what I've said or things I've recommended, but seeking to integrate your experience and experiences within this conversation, which I believe is very unconventional. It's not a conversation that I say this must be, or a place where we're not, I don't see that we can be more creative. In fact, this is more creativity in centering ourselves in the world, interconnected, and things that can actually guide us, some things that can guide us to be self-empowered or personally empowered. Again, remember, a personally empowered person is a self-leader. They lead themselves, and they are able to establish relationship with others. So as I end my short conversation, I do want you to remember that building relationship is most important with yourself and building that with others, because it's primarily the necessity to understand personal empowerment. I want to say thank you for taking the time off your busy day and joining me for yet another video. I do look forward connecting with you through my next video. I'm asking that if you have any suggestions, comments, and something that or questions, please feel free to leave me a message